and also completed his PhD in Lucknow University. The title of PhD on rivers from the University of Lucknow. He has received 5 scholarships and fellowships from the high school up to the PhD. Also, he has served as adjunct professor in IIT Kanpur in 2019-20. While serving, he was recognized as exceptionally good teacher by IIT Kanpur. Also, he is member of first expedition to Arctic North Pole region in 2007, only teacher to be selected from the Indian universities and hosted to the national flag for the first time in the Indian history in the Arctic region. He was also member of the second Indian expedition to the Arctic in 2008 and hosted the national flag again for the first time in Himadri, the Indian research station in the Arctic. He has recipient Vigyan Ratna Award in 2010 from the Council of Science and Technology, Uttar Pradesh State Government. He is recipient Shikshak Shri Award in 2013 and Saraswati Sanman Award in 2014 from the Department of Higher Education, Government of Uttar Pradesh. He has lifetime fellow and life member of the 7 international and various national scientific organizations. He has also published 77 research published paper in the various international and national reputed journals. Also, he has presented more than 100 papers in the various international and national conferences. He has edited more than 6 edited books from the international publishers. Also, he has recently published one book from the Springer, which is very important. A topic on the Indian rivers, the scientific and socio-economic aspects, is the first book of its kind in the world, which contains 37 chapters on all major rivers of our country. He is also working as Director, Institute of Hydrocarbon Energy and Georesources and ONGC, Center of Advanced Studies in the University of Lucknow. He is also now working as Director, UGC-HRDC, Lucknow University, earlierly known as Academic Staff College. He has supervised more than 10 students for his PhD and 21 students for dissertation thesis. He had involved in the 9 major research projects funded by the national and international bodies. He is trying to apply geological knowledge for human welfare. Thank you very much. Then again, I introduce today's chair session, Dr. S.N. Patil sir. I would like to introduce chair session of the plenary session, Dr. S.N. Patil sir. Dr. S.N. Patil sir is professor and head of department Applied Geology, School of Environmental and Earth Sciences, Kavitri Bainabai Chaudhary, North Maharashtra University, Jalgaon. He has more than 32 years teaching and research experience in the field of geology and engineering geology. He has also published more than 18 research papers in the various international and national journals. Also, he has supervised 15 students for PhD degree and now recently 1 student enrolled for postdoctoral study under his supervision. He had involved in the 6 major research projects as co-investigator and investigator for the various funded projects from the CSIR, DST and NASI projects. Now I would like to hand over this session to Dr. S.N. Patil sir. Please sir.
Okay, thank you Rishikesh. I request Professor Dhruv sir, please have your interactive talk with the audience.
Yeah. Good afternoon, respected chairman and respected and dear participants from different parts of the country. First of all, I would like to express my sincere thanks to the organizers of this very relevant conference for providing me an opportunity to interact with the learned audience. The topic which I am going to interact with you all is the climate change, the concept of climate change. The climate change is natural or climate change is anthropogenic. And what is the impact of climate change on the society? We all know that climate change is a very burning topic. Climate change is a hot cake. Climate change is one of the most important, or we can say the threat to the present day society. The scientists from different parts of the globe and scientists from and scholars from various disciplines, various subjects, they are trying to solve the mystery of climate change. That why climate change is taking place, how this climate change is taking place, at what rate climate change is taking place, and how this climate change is going to affect the present day society. Dear friends, we all know that climate is changing. Climate has changed in the past, but we don't know at what rate it is changing and when it will change. That we also don't know. That we know that it will change. We know that it is changing, but when it will change and at what rate it will change and how it is going to affect the society, that we don't know. And there are scientific evidences that a number of highly developed civilizations, such as Indus Valley civilization, because the conference is basically with reference to the Indian subcontinent. The Indus Valley civilization, one of the highly developed civilization that flourished and completely disappeared from this planet Earth because of the climate change. So there is a threat to the present day society. There is a threat to the present day human being because of this changing climate. And that's why scientists from different parts of the globe, they are trying their best to solve this mystery of climate change. That how and when it is going to solve, to change, to affect, at what rate to the society. Is it visible to you, the slide?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So this is it changing?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Please continue.
So the climate change is one of the major challenges in the 21st century faced by the citizen of planet Earth. It has affected the social, cultural, political, and economical aspect. Climate change has affected the agriculture, environment, and enhanced the frequency of the natural hazards. This is the beautiful planet Earth known as globe. The beauty of this planet Earth is continuously being degraded, either by the natural activity, either by the anthropogenic activity. And we don't know how much is the control of natural activity. Hello?
Yeah, continue, sir.
Yeah. We don't know that how much is the role of anthropogenic activity and how much is the role of natural activity. And it is very difficult to make a boundary between these two controls. Dear friends, this is the history of planet Earth. The Earth is 4.6 billion years old. I'm very happy to see that the chairman of this session is from geology background, Professor Patil. As a geologist, we all know that the Earth is 4.6 billion years old. And this Earth has witnessed a number of climate change, even much before the evolution of man on this planet Earth. Man evolved in this time, Pleistocene period, Paleolithic period, after that Mesolithic and Neolithic, and then the present day civilization. But even before the appearance of man on this planet Earth, 3 times glaciation took place in the history of the Earth, 2 times during Precambrian period, and 1 time during Gondwana period. This Precambrian and Gondwana is very easy to remember for the student of geology, but all those faculty members, all those colleagues who are from different background, to understand it in an easy way, we can say that the oldest glacial stages are related with the time period of Vindhyachal mountain and the Aravalli mountain, because they are the oldest mountain of the world formed during Precambrian period. So 2 times glaciation took place on this planet Earth when the Aravallis and Vindhyachal mountains were formed. And 1 time glaciation took place during Gondwana time. Gondwana is very famous for the formation of high quality, high rank coal. That is the time when defragmentation of the continent took place, started. So 3 times already glaciation, major glaciation occurred, and that completely disappeared from this planet Earth much before the evolution of man on this planet Earth. It means man may be one of the reason for the extinction, for the melting, for the disappearance of glaciers. But glaciers, they appear and they disappear naturally also, because they have already appeared and disappeared from this planet Earth before the evolution of man. Number 1. Number 2, at present sea level is rising. And everyone is saying that sea level is rising because of the anthropogenic activity. But dear friends, as a geologist, we all know that in the history of the Earth, sea level was maximum during Cretaceous period 65 million years ago. Much before the appearance of man on this planet Earth. That was the time of maximum transgression. Marine, that period is known as marine transgression. So 65 million years ago, when there was no man on this planet Earth, the sea level was maximum. It means man may be one of the reason for the rise in sea level, but the sea level rise naturally also, because in the history of the Earth, sea level was maximum during Cretaceous period 65 million years ago, when there was no man on this planet Earth. Dear friends, 3rd point. We all are saying, we all used to say, we all are hearing everywhere that the percentage of the greenhouse gases are increasing in the atmosphere because of the anthropogenic activity. Dear friends, we all agree that the greenhouse gases are increasing in the atmosphere because of the pollution which we have created on this planet Earth. But dear friends, 65 million years ago, the time of Cretaceous, is the time when the percentage of the greenhouse gases in the atmosphere was maximum. The carbon dioxide in the atmosphere was about 10 to 12 times higher than the present. At present, we are having glaciers at a number of places on this planet Earth. But during Cretaceous, there are no evidences of glaciers anywhere on this planet Earth. That's why sea level was maximum. The temperature was maximum. That is the time much before the anthropogenic activity and the appearance of man on this planet Earth. It means man may be one of the reason for the increase and decrease in the percentage of greenhouse gases and in the temperature, but they increase and decrease naturally also because their percentage was maximum in the history of the Earth when there was no man. Dear friends, if everything is natural, then why we are so much worried about the climate change? Because our culture, our civilization, our development is directly controlled by the climate and the prevailing environment. Climate is changing and it keeps on changing. scientific and historical records for the changing climate are abundantly clear. We know that it will change. But how it will change and at what rate it will change, that we don't know. And what is the matter of great concern? That man is also affecting and controlling the natural factors to some extent. Man is also affecting and controlling the climate and the greenhouse gases and the temperature and the global warming, each and everything, which are 100% natural in nature. But man is affecting the rate. That is a matter of great concern. That's why IPCC, Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, which was formed in 1988, dear friends, we don't know what was there in the first report of IPCC, in the second report of IPCC, in the third report of IPCC. We don't know. IPCC was formed in 1988. But when the fourth report of IPCC, that was published in 2007, we were forced to learn that what is IPCC and what is written in the fourth report of IPCC. It was described in the fourth report of IPCC that because of the climate change, because of the global warming, the temperature will rise. Because of the rise in the temperature, glaciers will melt. Because of the melting of the glaciers, sea level will rise. Because of the rise in sea level, coastal countries will submerge. Because of all these above changes which I mentioned, the weather will change, the season will change. Because of change in the weather and season, a number of fauna and flora will completely disappear from this planet Earth. The frequency of the natural disaster will increase. Some of the glaciers will completely disappear. Even the Gangotri Glacier will disappear by 2035. That was mentioned in the fourth report of IPCC. Dear friends, what is environment? What is climate? What is season? What is weather? If we just look at the environment, we all know that environment provides the life support system, the air we breathe, the water we drink, and the soil on which we are cultivating our food grains. It is provided by nature free of cost. These three are, we can say, independent sphere of the environment: the atmosphere, hydrosphere, and lithosphere. The atmosphere is providing free of cost the air we breathe. The hydrosphere is providing free of cost the water we drink. And the lithosphere is providing free of cost the soil on which we are cultivating our food grains. And dear friends, if nature is providing all the basic services free of cost, without which we can't survive on this planet Earth, it is our fundamental duty to think for the conservation and sustainability of all the natural resources, without which we can't survive. These are various proxies through which we analyze, we study that how the climate is changing. Glaciers, rivers, deserts, oceans, and the lakes. And I am very happy to share that through glaciers and through rivers and through lakes, I am working on the climate change. A number of scientists, they are also working using the desert and the ocean as the proxy. If we just look at the natural event, what nature has done, what nature has created, you just forget about the anthropogenic activity. I am talking about the past when there was no man. Dear friends, when Earth evolved 4.6 billion years ago, there was no oxygen. That's why life is much more younger than the age of the earth. Why there was no life? Because there was no oxygen. Then how oxygen evolved on this planet Earth? Because there were no men. Because there was no oxygen. It means oxygen evolved on this planet Earth naturally. How naturally? The volcanic eruption which took place on this planet Earth, the steam of the volcanic eruption that interacted with the ultraviolet radiation of the sun, and that formed the oxygen. That was the first primitive oxygen evolved on this planet Earth. And after that, the cyanobacteria, the oldest life on this planet Earth, by the process of photosynthesis, that's also evolved the oxygen. So the oxygen on this planet Earth was evolved by two processes. Number one, the volcanic eruption, and second is the photosynthesis. And you can see that the oxygen on this planet Earth was maximum during Gondwana time. Before that, it was also fluctuating. After that, it is also fluctuating. This is the imaginary photograph of the Earth when there was no man, there was no life, there was no oxygen. The oldest life on the planet Earth, known as cyanobacteria, we are getting the fossils of this cyanobacteria in the Vindhyachal hills, known as stromatolites. Stromatolites are very important sedimentary structures, organic sedimentary structures known to every geologist, and they are the oldest life on this planet Earth. Dear friends, everywhere it is being said that it is because of the greenhouse gases, anthropogenically induced greenhouse gases, the global warming is taking place. Greenhouse gases are very, very harmful. But just look at the exact situation of the greenhouse gases. What are greenhouse gases and how they are affecting the planet Earth? Pluto is the planet where the percentage of the greenhouse gases are very low. Greenhouse gases are very low, the temperature is also very low, minus 370 degrees Fahrenheit. The temperature on Mars, where the greenhouse gases are very low, the variation in the temperature of day to night is very high. 300 degrees Fahrenheit, we can't survive. So the temperature where greenhouse gases are very low, either the temperature is very low or the diurnal variation of temperature is very high, in which we can't survive. And the planets where greenhouse gases are very high, their temperature is very high, such as Venus, 855 degrees Fahrenheit. We can't survive in this high temperature. So friends, Earth is the only planet where greenhouse gases are just right, sufficient. And it is because of the presence of greenhouse gases, we are getting the temperature in which life can sustain. In the absence of greenhouse gases, the temperature will be either too low or the temperature will be too high. The diurnal variation will be too high, in which we can't sustain. And therefore, as a member of this planet Earth, it is our fundamental duty to conserve such percentage of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere. The increasing percentage is also damaging to the society, and the decreasing percentage is also damaging to the society. And that's why we all are worried about the increasing and decreasing percentage. As a citizen of planet Earth, we are worried about the increasing percentage of the carbon dioxide. And at the same time, we are worried about the decreasing percentage of the ozone. Ozone is also greenhouse gas. And it's our fundamental duty to conserve this. If you just look at this photograph, this is very interesting. Very common to a student of geology, to a professor of geology, and known to all of you also, that once in the past, the continents were united together, known as Rhodania. After that, they defragmented, known as Pangaea. After that, they again defragmented, known as Gondwana land or Laurasia. After that, Gondwana land again defragmented to form India, Australia, Antarctica, South Africa, and South America. The plates are still moving in different directions. We will not be there to see, to visualize. But after thousands of years, the situation will be different. After crores of years, the situation will be different. Lucknow, from where I am delivering this lecture, that may be located on the Himalaya, because the plates are still moving towards north. So all these changes, the most stationary part of this planet Earth, known as lithosphere, is also not stationary. That is changing with respect to the time and space. Why? Naturally. And it is because of this movement, this defragmentation, the mountains are formed, the oceans are formed, earthquake is taking place, volcanic eruption is taking place. It is all because of the tectonic activity, which is natural, not anthropogenic. Dear friends, we used to say that poles are stationary. Poles have never changed. North Pole is North Pole and South Pole is South Pole. In my name also there is pole. Dhruv, saying Dhruv. But as a student of geology, we know that even the poles are changing. And who knows better than the professor and scientists of Maharashtra? Because the first institute to study the magnetic poles, and the first work started in Maharashtra, IIGM Mumbai, Indian Institute of Geomagnetism. And now we know that the poles have changed 4 times: Gilbert, Gauss, Matuyama, and Bruns. So the most unstable part, the poles, they are also changing. If you just look at this, and what is the reason for this change of pole? That is also natural, not anthropogenic. If we just look at this, the evolution and extinction of the fauna and flora, dear friend, the Earth is 4.6 billion years old. Life evolved after that. After that, life evolved in the ocean. The trilobites, then ammonites, then reptiles, after that mammals. This trilobite which evolved in the ocean, that disappeared from this planet Earth. There was no man. Why that disappeared? The dinosaurs which flourished on this planet Earth during Jurassic period, we all are familiar with the dinosaur, that also completely disappeared from this planet Earth during Cretaceous period. Why dinosaur disappeared? The rhinoceros, the horses, the animals, the elephants, they also appeared on this planet Earth during the upliftment of the Himalaya, during the evolution of the Himalaya. The appearance of and the evolution of man, origin of man on this planet Earth is a recent phenomena during Pleistocene period. Our ancestor Neanderthal, the cranial capacity of Neanderthal was much more higher than the present day man. But that Neanderthal, which was here on this planet Earth during Paleolithic period, that also completely disappeared from this planet Earth. Dear friends, Neanderthal disappeared when the anthropogenic activities were not very active on this planet Earth. The dinosaur completely disappeared much before the evolution of man. some of the ammonites and the trilobites, they also disappeared extinct much before the evolution of man. It means the evolution of fauna and flora and the extinction of fauna and flora is also a natural process, not anthropogenic. The most important signature of this global warming and the climate change are the glaciers. Scientists from different national research institutions and different universities, they are working on the glaciers in our country. Geological Survey of India is working on many glaciers of our country. They started working on Gangotri Glacier since 1935. They are having the record. When I started working on Gangotri Glacier, I am continuously working since 1999. I published a paper in 2001 that if global warming is the only reason for the rapid rate of recession of the Gangotri Glacier, if global warming is the only reason, as spoken and stated in IPCC, that it will disappear by global warming. If global warming is the only reason for the rapid rate of recession of the Gangotri Glacier, then all the glaciers of the world should retreat at the same rate. But different glaciers of the world are retreating at different rate, and some are advancing too in our country. It means global warming is maybe one of the reason, but there are other regions, the characteristics of that particular glacier and the local aspect which controls the recession of the glacier. And I published paper and IPCC retracts from their 2035 alarm on this January 2010 that I have done one error in 1,000-page report of IPCC and there is no threat at all to the Gangotri Glacier. They retracts a number of things in 2010. IPCC retracts 2035 alarm on glacier. Dear friends, as a member of the higher education system, we should always point out anything which is going to affect the society. I strongly oppose the IPCC claim on the complete disappearance of Gangotri Glacier. And the article published in Times of India from 20th of March to 30th of March 2008, when they retract in 2010, it was published that IPCC admission vindicates Lucknow geologist claim. Lucknow geologist vindicated on glacier. And again in 2017, pattern of retreat and related morphological zones of Gangotri Glacier I published, in which I say that no doubt the Gangotri Glacier is retreating, but the rate of retreat is decreasing, which is contrary to the anthropogenically induced global warming. I am not against the global warming, but anthropogenically induced global warming. Earlier it was melting at 35 meter, 38 meter, 40 meter. Now with it is disappearing at the rate of melting at the rate of 10 meter per year only. So rate is decreasing. The rate of melting of the Gangotri Glacier is continuously decreasing, which is contrary to the anthropogenically induced global warming. This is Gomok, Bhagirathi River. These are various evidences. Lateral moraine, recessional moraines, which tells us about the melting of the glacier. And this is the Bhujbas, where we used to make our tent. When we presented the fact from the Gangotri Glacier region that it is contrary to the anthropogenically induced global warming, we all know that 2007 was the time when IPCC report was published. India is continuously visiting Antarctic South Pole region twice in a year since 1983, when Professor H.Z. Qasim visited Antarctic for the first time. In 2007, that was the time of IPCC report, and that was also the time of International Glacial Year. India planned for Arctic visit, first Arctic visit. Luckily, I was also a member of that. That was launched in 2007. This is the New Elsund located in Arctic, where you can see the research center of various countries. We celebrated the 15th August in the Arctic region for the first time in our country. And this is Himadri, the Indian research station located in Arctic. That was not there in 2007. So we celebrated the Independence Day and hoisted the flag on the ground But during second Indian expedition in 2008, it was there, and we celebrated the Independence Day and hoisted the flag for the first time in this Arctic region also. This is very famous photograph, and we all are familiar with this. 6 months day and 6 months night. You can see the sun in the night at 1:37. This is glacier. Beautiful glacier draining into the ocean. This is glacier draining into the ocean, tidal glacier. This is again glacier draining into the ocean. These are the iceberg responsible for Titanic tragedy. And this is the glacier again, you can see, and I am standing over here, how big this glacier is. Here we used to do the geological field work with loaded rifle and loaded pistol because of the fear of the polar bear. If you just look at this photograph, we are forced to believe that the glacier has melted from this place to this place. Glacier has melted from this place to this place, from this place to this place. It means global warming is taking place because the glaciers are melting very fast, evident from this photograph. These are the crevasses. You must be knowing that a number of mountaineers, they tried their best to climb the Mount Everest, but suddenly they disappeared. It is because of the presence of this type of crevasses on the glaciers. This is very rudimentary technique to analyze that the glaciers are advancing or the glaciers are melting with the use of ice stacks. Dear friends, these are lateral moraines. Moraines means a landform made by glacier, but there is no glacier because global warming is taking place and the glaciers have completely disappeared, melted from these plates. This all photographs are from Arctic region. This is one of the river draining into the ocean through an estuary. In our country also, Narmada, Tapti, they drain into the Arabian Sea to estuary. Some of the rivers, they drain through delta. In Arctic also, one of the river is draining into the ocean through delta. And you can see the sandbar over here. The river should drain into the ocean, but there is a bar. It means the discharge of the river is decreasing. If the discharge of the river is decreasing, means melting of the glacier is retreating. I visited during summer, 24/7 sunlight. But the discharge of the river is decreasing. It is again contrary to the anthropogenically induced global warming because that is the place where no anthropogenic activities are there. If you just look at this valley, this is the valley, but the river which is flowing through this valley is very, very small. What does it mean? It means the discharge of the river is decreasing. This is again a very wide valley, but the river known as Bealva, which is flowing into this valley, is again very small. This figure again explains that the melting of the glacier is decreasing. And if the glaciers are melting, fault. If the glaciers are melting very fast, or the glaciers are melting as evidence from this photograph, from this photograph, all these photographs, they explain that the glaciers are melting very fast. Then the sea level should rise, but the sea level is decreasing. The marks made by oceanic currents are here, whereas the present day sea level is here. This photograph shows clearly that the sea level is falling, where the water is going. If the glaciers are melting, then the sea level should rise, whereas the sea level is falling. This is again from Arctic region. Dear friend, very interesting result. The percentage of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere of last 4 lakhs year. Dear friends, 4 lakhs, before 4 lakhs year, it was 275. Before 3 lakhs year, again 275. 2 lakhs year, again 275. 1 lakh year, again 275, and at present again 275. You forget about the increasing trend. 275, 275, 275, 275, 275. In the absence of man, again after 1 lakh year, it will be 275. Again, 175, 3.5 lakhs year ago. 175, 2.5 lakhs year ago. 175, 1.5 lakhs year ago. 175, 50,000 years ago. After 50,000, it should be 175. So naturally, the percentage of the carbon dioxide in the atmosphere that varies from 275 to 175, 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 275 to 175. Naturally, it is varying. In the absence of man, if you just imagine that there are no anthropogenic activity on this planet Earth, then the days to come, the percentage of the atmosphere after 275, that should be 175, and again from 175 to 275, naturally. We know certainly the percentage of the carbon dioxide in the atmosphere will decrease. Certainly it will decrease because that is the natural factor. But when that will decrease? How that will decrease? At what rate that will decrease? That we don't know. And this is the anthropogenic impact, that it has increased from 275 ppm to 400 ppm. That is the anthropogenic impact. But even then, in spite of the anthropogenic activities and anthropogenic impact, it will decrease. Certainly it will decrease. But we should try to conserve it. Why? Because if the percentage of the carbon dioxide is going to increase further, the temperature will rise in such a way that we can't survive. Dear friends, this is the plant fossil from Arctic region. This is deciduous. Deciduous plant means tropical climate. It means once in the past, the climate of the Arctic was tropical. Who has changed it from tropical to frigid? It is all natural. Naturally, it has changed from tropical to frigid, and naturally it will again change from frigid to tropical. What is the harm? It is all part of natural cycle. And if everything is natural, then what the men are doing? What the anthropogenic activities are? Dear friends, climate change is natural, but the pollution is anthropogenic. We Homo sapiens degrade and continue to degrade our environment with the over-exploitation of nature. Massive deforestation and uncontrolled urbanization have led to the environmental degradation never witnessed so far. This is a photograph of a river when my students are doing research. And this is the photograph of same place when I was doing my research. Why we have got all the tree? There is no settlement at all. There are no industries at all. Generally, we used to say that every developmental activity is done at the cost of environmental degradation. But there is no urban center or there are no industries. Why we have deforested? Because we are continuously degrading our environment. This is the holy river Ganga, and this is the situation of Ganga river near Kanpur. We have completely polluted the Ganga river. Pollution is anthropogenic. Climate change is natural, but pollution is anthropogenic. If we are adding anything to the natural system, that is also pollution. And if we are depleting anything from the natural system, that is also pollution. We are continuously increasing percentage of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. That is also pollution. We are continuously depleting ozone from the atmosphere. That is also pollution. And the pollution is the disbalance of the natural system. the disbalance of the natural system, the disequilibrium of the natural system that leads to disbalance the natural system, and that causes natural hazard. Natural hazards are natural. Natural disasters are natural. Nature is that part of the environment which is beyond the control of man. That's why natural hazards, natural disasters are natural. They are beyond the control of man. We cannot stop the earthquake. We cannot stop the tsunami. We cannot stop the flash flood. We cannot stop the drought or flood or cyclone. With the help of natural law and with the help of scientific facts, we can minimize the damage done by all these natural events. But we cannot stop. Why? Because they are natural, and nature is beyond the control of man. This is the situation. Then what is the impact of this climate change on the society? Friends, this is for a river. You can see wide valley, narrow channel. This is another river, wide valley, narrow channel. For another, blue is valley, red is channel. This is for another river, wide valley, narrow channel. For Ganga river, wide valley, narrow channel. For Yamuna river, wide valley, narrow channel. For all the rivers, we are having very wide valley in which channel is very narrow. We have described all the rivers of major rivers of our country in this book. This is for Gagra river. You can see that in our country, we are having only 2.4% of the world's total land, where 17% of the world's total population is living. We know that this is peril zone, this is the danger prone zone, this is the flood prone zone, this is the tsunami prone zone, this is the earthquake prone zone, this is landslide prone zone. But we are forced to live into that zone because of the tremendous pressure of population on land. The men, they are living into the valley of Ghagra. The men, they have settled into the valley of Ghagra river. And this is lateral erosion, natural hazard in many of the rivers, the flood as well as the natural hazard. Usually we used to construct our settlement on upland terrace surface, but because of the increasing population, we are forced to live into the floodplain region also. Dear friend, the tragedy which took place in Kedarnath region, that also took place in Gangotri region on 6 June 2000. That event took place, the cloudburst. I was there. You can see these are the iron rods, and these iron rods were completely filled within 2 hours. Now this is the iron rod. I published one article in Current Science in 2002 that on 6 June 2000, that flash floods took place. But we are not affected because there was enough space in the Bhagirathi river for the flow of water. But what happened in Kedarnath region? In the Kedarnath region, this is Chaurawari Glacier, Mandakini river. And this is the Kedarnath Township. This is companion glacier, and one of the river was flowing like this. Because of the climate change and because of the pressure of population on land, we started encroaching the valley of the Mandakini river and the Saraswati river. This is another Saraswati. Name of the rivers are very local. For the smaller rivers, we completely established our settlement into this river. There was no place at all to accommodate the discharge of the river. This is the Kedarnath Township. When I was there for a month to work on these rivers and the glacier, we stayed in the tent in 1997 behind this temple, Kedarnath temple. Because of in 2013, because of the heavy rain, you can see the landslide, the red color are red color landslides. There was no space at all in the Mandakini river to accommodate this high rainfall. Because of the landslide, the river was blocked at a number of places. New rivers were initiated. Gandhi Sarovar was completely filled. The blocking of the Mandakini river at a number of places because of this landslide that formed the ephemeral lakes. The bursting of these lakes. that destroyed each and everything in the Kedarnath. This was the situation of Kedarnath. I visited this Dept 3 times after Kedarnath tragedy. The water rose up to this level. This is Dept, Alaknanda and Bhagirathi, they are joining. This was the water level. Here was the sand. Again, I published in Current Science in 2014. Surface process during flash floods in glaciated terrain of Kedarnath, and what was the human responsibility. Dear friends, again, recent tragedy in 2021 took place in Chamoli region. I published this in Times of India. Climate change had led to the rise in natural disaster. Whatever till now I have discussed, on the basis of that, we can say that these are the natural regions of climate change, the eccentricity, the obliquity, and the precision proposed by Milenkovic. These are the natural regions of climate change. Dear friends, whatever I have presented, that clearly shows that the increase and decrease in the percentage of carbon dioxide, rise and fall in the global temperature, retreat and advancement of the glaciers, extinction of fauna and flora, the increase in the percentage of greenhouse gases, these all are natural events. They are not anthropogenic. But natural resources are finite. Environment gives us all the basic services free of charge, without which we can't survive on this planet Earth. Therefore, it is our moral responsibility to think for the sustainable development, because there is no place like home and there may never be again. Therefore, I would like to request everyone that come forward to save this planet Earth and to develop the society and mankind in a sustainable way. Do your part so that we can hand over our coming generation a neat, clean and green earth. और यही तो हमारी वेदों और ऋचाओं में भी लिखा हुआ है कि सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः, सर्वे सन्तु निरामया, सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु, मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत्. जय हिंद, जय भारत. Now the session is open to the question. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Now session is open for discussion.
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, Earth revolutionary theory, it is possible, means devolution of Earth is possible.
Revolution of Earth is?
Revolutionary theory, it is possible or not? Revolutionary.
Revolutionary theory of what?
For devolution of Earth.
The revolution of Earth is taking place.
Okay.
Devolution. Yeah, the three theories which are responsible for the natural change of climate change are eccentricity, means the Earth which is revolving around the sun, that is at present elliptical, but that changes from elliptical to circular path. Second is obliquity. The inclination of the Earth is 23.5, but that changes from 21.5 to 24.5. That is obliquity. And the third is precision. That is perihelion, ephelion, perigee, apogee. That is also one of the region for the natural events of climate change. So the revolution is taking place. The revolution of the Earth.
Sir. Okay, sir. Thank you very much.
I think no questions to the audience. So should we wind up, Rishikesh?
Okay, sir. Okay. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Yes, friends. Good afternoon, all. At the outset, I should say thanks to the organizers for inviting me and chairing this session. Professor Dhruv Singh, sir, from Director of HRDC and the person of Geology from Lucknow University, has highlighted many issues on climate change on planet Earth, either natural or anthropogenic, and their impacts. He has started or is highlighted many issues, various climate change on planet Earth. He has started his topic right from beginning of the how continental drifting and how Earth is originated. There's stromatolite, trilobite, dinosaurs, rhinoceros, horses, elephants, and man, and their changes, evolutionary changes of the Earth and climate change. How global warming on Earth planet and how their impacts on climate change and society. Finally, he has given a message to protect the Mother Earth for our sustainable development of future prospects. So Dhruv Singh sir has given a very informative and nice lecture to the audience. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. And over to the organizers.
Thank you.